And we're live. Episode number 14, Knicks and Bruises. I got my guy, the original man, Ron Cleveland. Original catchphrase guy. Yo, black is time, man. What's going on, my brother?
Man, Tony Crow, man, another day in the night in the life of a Knicks fan, die hard, bone gristle. If you cut me open, it's gonna bleed blue and orange. You know what I mean? The same way with you, man. This thing go back like babies on Similac, man. You know what I mean? Your black is time. That man phrase. You know where all that thing came from, man. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to the mothership, my man Simeon Russell, and everybody else that came off that thing. But it's a lovely time right now. But I know you're talking about these Knicks and Bruises, and I know you about to make me go back in the archives and dig up some pain. So, hey, I'm gonna share it with you. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on, spending some time with me. I just gotta correct you real quick. It's the brothership. We changed it to the brothership.
Okay.
Or the Podfather. You know,
ooh, I like that Podfather. You know what I mean?
We're running with that. So
I like that.
Shout out to Sim, MBK,
yes, sir.
fan, everybody. Salute you guys, man. Ron, the floor is yours, man. Where you want to start? Knicks and Bruises.
You know, a lot of people ask me, like, Ron, when did your fandom start with this thing, man? I'm gonna take you back. You know what I mean? Young kid, grew up on a small island. You know what I mean? In Beaufort County. If anybody heard about Beaufort, South Carolina, you heard of Hilton Head. That heard about Parris Island. I grew up across the water from Parris Island. You know what I mean? Large family, but when it came to this Knicks thing, man, it started in like 10th grade, man, 10th, 11th grade. I'll never forget. You remember when them starter jackets came out?
Yes, sir.
Mom Dukes went and got me that orange and blue Knicks starter coat. Everybody else was rocking either the Raiders or the Bulls. You know what I mean? That was the popular thing, of course, because Jordan was doing his thing. You know what I mean? And the Raiders was powerful. But Mom Dukes went and got me that orange and blue. And that's when it started. And then, of course, my favorite player coming up when he was in college was no other than the Big Pat. You know what I mean? So when Patrick Ewing got drafted by the Knicks, the rest is history. And then on top of that, you know, I joined the Army right out of high school after I graduated high school at 17. Graduated June 7th, was gone August 13th. You know what I mean? To the Army. Where I got stationed at, my first 3 years, almost 4 years in the Army, Fort Drum, New York, upstate. 18 years old when I got there. I was like 21 when I left. You know what I mean? So, and of course, back in 91, 92, you remember how thick that thing was, like peanut butter. You know what I mean? That thing was powerful. You know what I mean? It was either Chicago or it was either the Knicks. There was no question. You know what I mean? And so when it came to that, man, you know, just that's when my fandom started, man. And I've been with them ever since, man, even through the good times, through the bad times. You know what I mean? You don't leave a situation because it ain't good no more. You stay until that thing get powerful, and you stay and you grow roots. You know what I mean? I don't respect people who team hop. You know what I mean? And I don't follow no one player. If you come to the Knicks, I'm with you. If you leave, hey, have a good career, just not when you play us. You know what I mean? Only team I follow is the orange and blue in the association. I can care less about anybody else's team. You know what I mean? So that's what it is.
I hear that, man. I'm feel you, man. I'm right with you. Gotta stay loyal to your team. I'll tell you real quick, a minor bruise in my youth, talking about them starter jackets. I too received a semi orange and blue starter jacket. Unfortunately, it was the Phoenix Suns, and I refused to wear it. And you know, I had to sit in my closet because that wasn't the team that I wanted to represent.
Man, that's funny, man.
I think I wore it 2 times, and once was because it was cold, and that was the only jacket I had. But it's funny you bring up the starter jackets, man.
Yeah, man. So you know that's when it started, man. And you know, I never forget, man. And people who've heard my show, man, they heard me say this. But man, when I was in like basic training, and I was, you know, they gave us our first like time to go home, you know, after 6 weeks. And so my cousins and stuff came up for that family day weekend. And I look and I noticed, because see, once you go to basic training, man, you out of touch with everything. Like they totally, they strip you of everything. You know what I mean? They basically break you down mentally to build you back up. And so you forget everything that's hot. You don't know what's going on. You get letters, but of course letters don't do it all, man. Matter of fact, at the time, my cousin sent me this letter, and she's put in there, she said, man, Ronald, there's this R&B group, man, they hot. And she put the name in there, and it was like, how you pronounce that? You know who the group was?
Who's that?
Jodeci. So you know what I mean? I got that letter. And matter of fact, you know, at that time, Boys to Men and Jodeci came out 9-1. So man, we leaving basic training AIT. So you know, they came to the family day weekend. I'm looking at my cousin and them walking across that parade field in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I'm looking at their feet. And I see them black and white Patrick Ewing. I was like, hold up. And I was like, man, I said, we up. They're like, man, Ronald, man, this is it right now. This is what you want. On the way home, because I live like 45, we about 45 minutes from Savannah, Georgia. So, you know what I mean? We ain't had no mall. We ain't got no mall in Beaufort. You know what I mean? So everybody would go to Savannah to go to their mall or go to Hilton Head. So I was like, hey, I said, Mama, Daddy, y'all got to stop at the Oglethorpe Mall. I said, we ain't going home until I go get me a pair of them Ewings. So, you know what I mean? I caught them things, man. And hey, like I said, man, this thing with the Knicks run deep, man. But yeah, so when I think about our Knicks, man, the pain, the one that jumps out for me the most, I gotta say, Reggie Miller. Everybody know that matter of fact, Reggie Miller should have made some money off them shirts. If he didn't, he missed the boat on that. That right there. I remember because I was in upstate at that time, and I remember we was in the barracks. We was watching the game, and there was this cat with me, man. I can't remember his last name. You know what I mean? Because we always, you know, in the military, you call people by their last names anyway. And so we in the barracks, we watching that game. Me and my man, we celebrating. We like, oh, this thing over with. You know what I mean? So next thing you know, we sitting there, and I'm looking, and I'm watching Reggie Miller drop them threes in 8 seconds. And the last one made me mad the most because right in front of the refs, I believe it was Greg Anthony that got pushed to the floor. In front of the ref on an inbound. That's supposed to be a technical. You know what I mean? Reggie Miller pushed him Reggie Miller pushed him to the floor and got open for a three. So I was just like, you guys should be kidding me. And when we lost that game, man, I remember the look on Spike Lee's face. Because Spike Lee was trolling, he was heckling Reggie. They were going back and forth heavy. You know what I mean? Shout out to Spike Lee, man. But I was just sitting there, man, Tony, man. I was like, I couldn't believe what I saw, man. And matter of fact, I think he broke history with that. I don't think nobody ever scored that much in that fast of a time, man. You know, and so I just was like, man, this is just that for me is the one that stick out the most. Of course, we can talk about championships, man, but that's my pain, blues, and agony to the bone gristle with this orange and blue. You know what I mean? Amongst other things, man. So that's the one that really hits me the most. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. Shout out to my birds. They always want to be a part of the show.
Yes, sir.
I got the lights off. I got them covered. They like, man, it's 1:30. I know what time it is. But yeah. You know, it's funny about that. The article in the, I don't know if it was the Post or the Times, but the next day they blamed Reggie. I mean, they blamed Spike, and it was a big thing about they were saying Spike awoken the giant and this and that, the heckling. You know, you can't blame a fan for being a fan. You know, we probably would have been doing the same thing if we was in that position.
Yeah,
but
man.
Yeah, that definitely was a heartbreaking moment. And you know, no foul called, everything just went his way, and that was definitely a moment that still gets brought up to this day. Not even for Knicks fans, but basketball fans. You know, what I mean, that was a moment in basketball history. Unfortunately, we was on the losing end of that history. But yeah, man, that was a big one. I agree.
Yeah.
What else you got for me?
And so my next one has to be, oh man, because I think let me think back to that time when that happened. I'm trying to think if we lost that series. I think that might have been a defining moment in that series if we lost it. And Reggie hit those 3 threes. Did we lose that series? I'm trying to remember. I think we did, and I think that might have been the turning point. Don't quote me on that. Somebody in the chat, please let me know if we lost that series, because I think that was like a turning point in that series.
Yeah, I don't even know. Did that end the series? Because I don't recall. I don't recall a game after that.
Yeah, I can't remember. All I remember is that pain, blues, and agony. And I'm a talkative guy. You ain't gonna have to wonder what's on my mind, because I wear my emotions on my sleeves, man. But that day when that happened,
because that was in Indiana, yes.
No, that was that. I believe that might have been in Madison. I think that was in Madison Square Garden.
I'm not sure, because there was a 30. I'm pretty sure there's a 30 for 30 on that.
Okay. Yeah, I have to go back and look at it, man.
And I kind of remember even the fans there, or maybe this was just in general, but the fans there weren't very nice to Spike either.
Oh no.
I know some of the history of it in the end.
I think that was the old Conseco Field House. I think they used to play in or whatever. Man, but yeah, that one hurt me, man. Like I say, man, I was just sitting there and Zach said that was MSG.
Okay.
Yeah, that one, man. And I think Zach, correct us. Hey, was that the turning point? Did we lose that series? I think we might have lost that series. You know what I mean?
Oh, we definitely lost that series. I know
and
that.
I think that was a defining moment in that series. Because I think up until that game, if we had won that game, I think we was gonna put, to Reggie's point, we was gonna put a stranglehold on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was instead it flipped. That thing flipped totally, man.
Yep.
And we didn't recover, man. So that one hit me the hardest, because I felt like 92. 92 that year was the year that we should have won it. I really felt like we should have won it that year. And the next one, oh man, it's again against Indiana, man. The big Pat with that finger roll.
Mm.
When his hand was above the cylinder, only thing he had to do was just turn and dunk it. And it kind of felt like on that play when I watched it and that time in that game, it felt like he changed his mind in the air. Like he was going to dunk it, and then all of a sudden he changed his mind and finger rolled it. And that thing lipped out, and we lost that series. That was definitely, I think, the series we definitely lost. You know what I mean? But, man, when that was another crushing moment, man, and to see us lose to that team, because I always felt like they weren't even in our league, man. They were not even in our league. That team was trash to me. I mean, yeah, they had good players, but like I said, man, if you ain't the Knicks, you trash to me. I don't give you no love. And Reggie Miller, I hated his guts. And I used to call him, you remember that show back in the days that used to come on TV, Alien Nation? That's who he reminded me of. One of them people on that show, man. And I hated that guy, man. I hated him. I respect him, but I hated him. And you know why I hated him? Because he was good. I got to give him his credit. Shout out to Reggie Miller and shout out to his sister Cheryl Miller. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was another one of them ones, man. That them Knicks and Bruises, pain, blues, and agony. And of course, I got to go here. John Starks. And you know what? A lot of people blame John Starks for that. What was it? 0 for 18, 0 for 19?
2 for 18, I believe.
Yeah, and I think he might have missed 18 straight or something, some ridiculous number. But I don't blame Starks for that, man. More so, I blame the coach for that. You got to know when it ain't that player's night, man. You know what I mean? You got to have the pulse of your team, and he should have pulled Starks, man, because I think at that time we still had Hubert Davis, and Hubert Davis was a gunner. You know what I mean? So he should have put Hubert in there, man. I was just like, John didn't have it that night. And it's okay to admit when it ain't your night. Every night ain't gonna be your night. Just like in baseball, man. When them pitchers got their fastball going, they can build off that on other stuff. But if that fastball ain't going,
gotta get him out of here.
Katie by the door, Tater cook, good night, Irene, kiss the baby, good night, game over. And that's what happened with us, man. The game was over, man. You know what I mean? Like my mom always say, Tony, man, she got this saying, she like to say, man, you got to use your head for more than a hat rack. And Coach Pat, unfortunately, he didn't use his head, man. I think he went more with his heart because it was no mistake, and he loved John Starks, and I love John Starks too, still to this day. I'm never going to diminish what that guy meant to this team, but you got to recognize when players ain't got it, man, and you got to adjust. And it's the difference between winning and losing, and that's what it was.
Yeah, he was my favorite player growing up. My first favorite Knick. You know, I felt like if I could make it to the league, that was the guy I would have had to emulate. You know what I mean? I wasn't the most talented guy, but it was about the heart always.
And I'll go with another one of my Knicks and Bruises. I would have to say when, man, we lost that series to San Antonio.
Oh.
When we got there as an 8th seed, I felt like that was going to be our year, man. Like everything was just falling in place. Matter of fact, I think that was the infamous OJ with the Bronco. Yeah, I think that might have been that year. And why that series hurt the most, that was the year that Patrick Ewing had that Achilles injury. That was the year Patrick had that Achilles injury. And if Pat could have been healthy, with us getting the Canby man, we win that series, man. We win that series. It ain't a doubt in my mind we win that series if Patrick Ewing was healthy. Because David Robinson couldn't handle Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing had David Robinson number, just like, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, Julius Randle. Julius Randle, aka Mr. Get on My Back Randle, aka All-Star. The same way it looks like he got Sabonis number. That's what it looks like. It's the same type situation. You know what I mean? Patrick Ewing used to bully David Robinson, man. And that Patrick Ewing being out of that series was huge. Okay, OJ was 94 with Houston.
Yeah, okay, that was you talking about 99. Yeah,
that was a hurtful season that you know that one too, man. But more so, I felt like that year with Sprewell and them guys when we was the 8th seed, man. Because for one, I don't think nobody had ever done that in the history of the game. Went from the 8th seed to the finals. I think that was like a history defining moment.
At that time.
And so for that to happen, I was like, okay, man, maybe this the year. You know what I mean? This the year. We're gonna get one. I'm gonna get one.
It felt like it, man. It felt like it. That Patrick injury that was devastating. I ain't even gonna front. And had he not got injured, we probably never trade him, which I feel like is the defining changing moment in our franchise's history as far as success. You know.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'm with you, Tone, man. And to me, of all the bruises that I've gotten from this team, I think that's the worst one. Ain't a doubt in my mind. That's the worst one. I mean, I understood, years later, but at the time when you're a fan of a player, the way I was of Patrick Ewing couldn't do no wrong in my eyes, man, coming up. You know what I mean? That guy gave his all to this franchise. You know what I mean? I watched that guy play injured. I watched that guy, give it his all on nights where nobody else was giving the business. Pat was pulling up, doing work. And the biggest travesty that happened to Patrick Ewing, other than us trading him, was the fact that we didn't have a consistent number 2. We didn't have a consistent number 2 to Pat. But Patrick Ewing, man, when he got traded, I'm telling you, Tony Crow, man, your blackest time. Your blackest time. I almost stopped watching basketball. That's how bad that thing hurt me, because I was like, no, man, I can't believe we trade this guy, man. You don't trade this guy, man. He's the franchise. He's the face of it. But as you get older and you understand the business of sports, I understood, okay, if the Knicks went to Patrick Ewing and say, hey, Cap, we need you to come off the bench, that's not going to be a good look. Patrick Ewing, we know, is a very prideful person, or at least was at that time. And I'm thinking he still is that guy. You know what I mean? So would his ego allow him to come off the bench? I'm here to say I don't think so. And I think they may have had a conversation about that before they came to the conclusion they had to move him. So I understood. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, rumor has it that that's exactly what it was, and he felt disrespected because I think they wanted Camby to start, that because that's coming off the finals run. At the time, I didn't mind it because I was so amped and hyped off the finals run as well. And then the optics and as time went on, I realized how bad it was for the franchise. Because I mean, to be honest, even as a young kid, I was always a Knicks fan first, and then a player fan. You know what I mean? So to me, I felt like they was making the right decision, but in hindsight, and as I thought about it, as just like what it did to us optically, and how it hurt a lot of fans, I realized it wasn't the right move. Maybe keeping him in the starting lineup and then letting him come to that decision ultimately, maybe that was the way to go, but who knows how long that would have took. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look at Carmelo. It took a while for him to acknowledge and accept, hey, I could come off the bench and still be productive, you know?
Yeah, shout out to Zach at the coach's desk. He said, I got confused because I'm too young. Laugh out loud. That 99 team was who made me a fan. Shout out to Zach, man. Hey, I agree with you. I agree with you, Tony, man. So you had the right insight. And I came to that conclusion after, I was like, hey, dude, you love basketball. You ain't going to stop really watching basketball. You know what I mean? So what you going to do? You going to leave the Knicks because Patrick Ewing's gone? Or are you going to find you a new team? Or are you going to just stop watching the game of basketball? So, I made the decision. I said, hey, Pat gone. I'm going to miss him. Wish he was still here, but I'm going to stay with the Knicks. You heard me? And so been here ever since, man. But though that was the most defining Knicks and Bruises in my history, was when that happened to Patrick Ewing, man. And I agree with you. I think if they would have handled it differently, sometimes other people telling you what your mistakes are, you don't see it. It's nothing like letting you see from your own play that you don't have it no more. Because I remember even you could see there were times when the Knicks had already got up the court and Patrick was the last man getting up the court on the break and stuff like that. So it was obvious it was time. It was time for them to move him to the bench, even really for him to retire. That's what it really was.
Think about this. He's watching, he gets hurt, he's watching his team go to the finals, right? So all this time he can't play, he's sitting there on the bench or whatever, and he's like, oh, if I was in there, if I could play, like just like you said, if we had Pat, we would have won that series. We would have got that ring. So that's how he's feeling. So now you coming into the off season or whatever, and now the team's coming to you and saying, hey, we think we want to start Camby. So I understand the dynamic of that. You already feeling like, oh, if they had me, if I was available, we win. I'm ready for next year. We're gonna get this thing. And now your team is coming to you and saying, hey, we did so well without you. You know what I mean? We wanna move you to a different role. So I get the dynamic of why it was bad timing, bad communication. You know what I mean? Like you coming in ready to say, "Oh, I'm gonna get us over the hump." If I was there, we would have got it. And then they telling you, "Hey, we kind of want to demote you." So I get the dynamic. That's actually Sims number one as well. The trading of Patrick Ewing. So
man,
yeah, I get that, man. That and just to, I wish he would have played his whole career here, because that's a novelty that a lot of players don't get. You know what I mean? You got to respect that. So yeah, I definitely wish he could have played his entire career here, and he never looked right in any other uniform.
No, the same thing with John Starks. I think that's another Knicks and Bruises, man. John Starks, going in another uniform. It never sit well with me looking at him in other teams' uniform, because he even play for Chicago. Somebody said he played for Chicago too, and I was like, no. I said, nah, man.
And Patrick on the Celtics? I thought Seattle looked bad. Man. And the Celtics uniform?
I mean, that's you talking bitter rivals.
So
the rivalry is so bitter. That thing even goes to the clam chowder. You heard me? The New England Bears. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Is that serious, man? So that was a no. So I mean, man, that definitely was the one that got me the most, man. Is that not John Starks, but Patrick Ewing, man. Patrick Ewing leaving this team, and it's ironic that this team never really recovered from that, man.
Yeah,
we never really recovered from that. You know what I mean? So, things are looking up now. So, that's my Knicks and Bruises. But I'll say this too: the last thing about Pat with that situation, to your point, when you brought up about, knowing that he was injured and he watched that team, and he's like, man, I could have been that guy, because they needed. You know what I mean? Not only is he's thinking that, but imagine what he's hearing from friends, family, fans in the city, and even the tabloids saying, well, Pat was here. Because I definitely know that was a conversation. And then at the time, Patrick Ewing is a young man. You know what I mean? You're young, you're prideful. Your pride is real heavy. You know what I mean? You got more pride than you got sense. You know what I mean? In them early 20s and stuff. So, man, and even, late 30s, man. Well, at that time, Pat probably was what? 30 what? But still.
He better have been 31, maybe.
31. But still, you know what I mean? It's still a very, a guy that you go from being the pitcher of the franchise after Bernard King. This your city. I still remember one of the things I love the most, man, and images that I had of Pat, man, was the one where he's sitting up and he got his arms stretched out like this.
And covering like 7 chairs.
And the other one, who was it? It was somebody he was punching in the chest, playing like he punched him in the chest. It was on the floor. It might have been Starks, I think, that was on the floor. He was, hitting him. Hey, man.
Classic. Man. You just gave me chills with me remembering that, man.
hey, you and me both, man. Like the hair literally stood up on the back, because I'm just picturing that, man. Big Pat, man. It's just like, and I'm gonna tell you, you know what, Tony? Those were Knicks and Bruises, right? You know what? Gonna be one of them healing scars, man. When you see Patrick Ewing, I ain't talking about banner being raised. When you see that dude come back and have a role within the organization, I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? He deserves some kind of role, man. Because when you think about the Knicks, for people in that 40-year-old bracket, and in the 30 bracket, when you think about the New York Knicks, who's the first person name come to your mind?
Pat.
Exactly. If and that, I mean, for anything else, man, when it's time up with Georgetown, bring the big cap back, man. Give him a spot. And I know I got faith in James Dolan, man. I think he's gonna do the right thing. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna kill him. That's my owner. I'm gonna tell you like T.O. said. That's my owner. You know what I mean? So if you know where I'm going at, how I said that. You know what I mean? So that's my Knicks and Bruises, man. But yeah, man, that's really it.
All right, man. I like your list. Definitely. At least two of them on the list have been arguably in everyone's top five, regardless of who I had on, and that's the finger roll, and the Patrick trade. So salute to you. As always, I always want to end on a positive note because, like I always say, this is not a negative podcast or a bash the Knicks podcast. So on that note, the current regime, current roster, we fourth seed, man. You got to be excited about that. You know, having been there in what, over 5-6 years. Come on, man. This is great. So what's your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on the current roster, the current regime, front office? Give it to me.
All right, we're gonna start at the top. I'm going with the owner. As much grief he gets, some people might say it's deserved. I have my personal opinion on it. But one thing I must say that, yeah, I love about James Dolan. When the guy makes a mistake with a hire or anything like of that sort, he ain't afraid to change gears, change wheels, and acknowledge by his actions of what he's doing that he made a mistake. You know, sometimes people wait for a person to say they made a mistake, but by their actions, you can tell that they acknowledging that they made a mistake. And what I mean by that, Phil Jackson. We got Phil Jackson in here. Mr. Dolan got out the way. I'm going to let you do your thing. Sat back, watched Phil run it into the ground. Still had all them years of money left to pay Phil. What did he do? Came and pulled the plug, and then he did this. This is your captain speaking. Phil Jackson, please put your tray in the upright position. Lock your seatbelts. Prepare for takeoff to Montana. Got him up out of here. When he did that, I said, okay. And that's been his MO. He'll spend the money. If it ain't right, he's not going to just go with it. Some people in business, they'll make a mistake and they'll refuse to admit that they made a mistake, and they'll keep paying people even though they know it was a bad move.
Right out.
You know what I mean? But that ain't the case with our owner. Not only that, he will spend that money. You know what I mean? On players. Whatever you need, I'm here. I got it. I'm gonna spend that money. And I've heard people say, "Oh, well, he only spending that money because of the tax break they get at Madison Square Garden." But guess what? He didn't have to. You know what I mean? He could keep that money in his pocket. What the man has done with that money, willing to spend it not only on players and executives, he's also went and remodeled the Garden a few times out of his pocket. You know what I mean? So shout out to Mr. Dolan, man. And the biggest earth-shaking move that the Knicks have made in 20 years, the best decision he has ever made. And I felt this the minute we got him. Leon Uncle Rose. Smart hire. The guy was an agent. What does that guy specialty? What is his specialty? Formulating relationships. All these guys, players and teams he's dealt with over the years, I have yet to hear anybody say anything negative about the guy. He's a stand-up dude. That's all I keep hearing. Not only that, when you think about this guy was the head of CAA, you know what I mean? Power agent. And so I think about that, okay? You don't become a power agent unless you're smart. making the right decisions, having people around you, because you in business, you're only as good as the people that you got around you. You know what I mean? Steve Jobs even said that. He said it wasn't him that made Apple, it was the people that worked for him. You know what I mean? So when I look at Leon Rose, number one move to get that guy, man. And then the next move, World Wide Wes. World Wide Wes. Another guy with relationships. Always had people talk good about him. So the next move, and this is the one I love because I wanted this guy, man, a couple of times when he became available. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. And I'm going to go on record and say it, and I've been saying it. Coach of the Year. That's right. Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau, the guy that people was questioning, oh, do he still got it? Do he have the ability with these young players to coach this?
Can he adjust?
Can he adjust? Shout out to Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine debunked that theory quick. There's an article with Zach LaVine talking about he got nothing but respect for him. He learned how to play defense under Tom. He didn't have a problem playing for Tom. So that debunked that theory. And that guy is only, what, 25?
Mm-hmm.
Young guy. You know what I mean? So Tom Thibodeau, and when I heard this remark, this will hurt me when we didn't get him when we had an opportunity. I would have crawled to New York to take that job. My dream job. When you hear a person say that, they are mentally invested. I say again, mentally invested, other than being financially invested, getting paid to make sure this thing run the way it's supposed to. And the thing with Tom, when you're trying to establish a culture, and we know this, we went the route of having different regimes come through. Everybody had that same mantra. They try to say, well, we're going to make the garden this. You ain't coming in here and all that. Tom was one of the last ones that was around when that thing across the top of your head was powerful. And he knew what it meant to play here. He knew what this team means to the fan base. So when we got Tom, I just was like, oh, I know we going to roll. And Tony Crow, if you ask anybody what I said about our team, defensively, I'm not surprised. I said we were going to be a top 10 defense because of Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? So getting that guy, that was a power move. Then the next thing you do, that coaching staff. You bring back Charles, a.k.a. Woody.
I was waiting for it, man. I was like, Ron better not leave out Mr. Woodson.
You bring Woodson, and you know what that symbolized to me too? Because see, I like to be forward thinking and my mind go in different directions. Tone. When we got him, you know what that signaled to me?
What's that?
Hey, Woody, I appreciate what you did for us. You know, you got us there. I don't like what happened to you, how you were dismissed. We're going to make you be a part of this thing. That's what that felt like, bringing Woody back. Because other than the connection between both of those guys coming up, you know, working with Doc Rivers also, you know, Tom worked with Doc when they won that title in Boston. And Woody working with Doc recently, they never really worked together. You see what I'm saying? So the common thread was Doc Rivers with them guys. So I'm like, typically a coach will bring in guys that they've worked with to be their assistant. And so Woodson was kind of an out of box, you know, thinking to grab him. So when that happened, I'm sitting there, I said, okay, I feel like this one might have came from the top saying, hey, Woody, I'm going to take care of you, man. I didn't like the way you was dismissed. You weren't the problem. And he wasn't. I tell anybody that Woody was not the problem. I'm going to say it again for those who hard of hearing can't hear me. Woody was not the problem. It was just a perfect storm of events. And every now and then, teams underperform. Tyson Chandler had stuff going on with his mom, and I love Tyson Chandler. You know what I mean? Stuff was happening on that front. And it was just a perfect storm of situations happening. You know what I mean? I truly believe had they brought Woody back that next year, that they would have picked right back up. It would have picked right back up.
And let me just add to that. not only was it a perfect storm of bad events, but he fought through it. We missed the playoffs by a game, if not a half a game.
Yeah.
Ended the season on a 18-6 run. Again, that was another, mishaps for me by Phil Jackson. And then similar to Thibodeau, what you saying, dream job, what he interviewed for the head coaching job and said, I will be an assistant to be here. Like, whatever role you need me to be, I will take that role, take that position to be here.
Unfinished business.
I love that hire as well. But continue. The floor is yours.
So that happened in Tone. I was like, okay, we got Woody. Then they go out and get Johnny Bryant from Utah, young upstart. The buzz around him, what he did with Spider-Man, Donovan Mitchell. I said, okay, we on to something. Then you don't stop there. You go get Walt Perrin from that situation over there with OKC. He was the man responsible for making all them hires, for scouting people. Okay, so you go and bring in a top-notch scout. Also, you go get Kenny Payne from Kentucky, from the pipeline to the NBA. You go to the pipeline and you tap into that resource. Oh man, so now this picture is getting real pretty. You know what I mean? So after that, you make that move. What's the next one? It was another move right after that got my attention. What was the last one?
We got the Perrin. Wasn't there like a capologist guy?
Oh, that's it. Aller, the guy from Cleveland, the money man. You get him known as the best in the business. So your book's gonna be right. So I'm looking at all this stuff transpire with our Knicks, right? And then not only do you cap that off, but when it comes to transactions, all these deals I'm watching getting made. All these deals are minimal deals. Nobody getting more than $5 to $6 million coming in. And they're not trash players. Only one I had a question about coming back was EP, and I've thus changed my stance on him. Got to give him his credit. You know what I mean? When players ball, we give them the game ball. When they don't ball, we give them the game thorns. That's what it is. You know what I mean? I recognize what he is. You know what I mean? Very good backup. He ain't a starter in my opinion. You know what I mean? But he has a role on this team. Shout out to Alfred Payton. So I came around on that. But this was the one that really resonated. You go out. Well, before I get to this one, I knew it was something else in the front office I loved. This goes back to Leon Rose again. You keep Scott Perry. Signs of a smart businessman. You coming into a situation where you have never been in this role as the man in the front office. So instead of just completely cleaning house, he keeps somebody on that's been here, that has a pulse of the team and knows the direction of where this team was headed, why certain players are on this roster. He can relate to Leon Rose. Okay, this is the reason why we signed Julius Randle. This is what we envisioned when we signed him. This is why we kept these guys. This is why we didn't move. This is what we project. And so now with bringing in Tibbs, you let Tibbs look at what Scott Perry says. And let's see if this match up to what he's telling me, why he kept these guys, why he signed these guys. So Tibbs look at the roster and says, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. And as a result, he keeps Scott Perry on for a year. Give him an extension. Rightly deserved. And I don't think Scott Perry's going nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a problem with Scott Perry. And so after that, the movement, we watch our team in preseason looking good. You know what I mean? And that's when I said, okay, top 10, we're going to be a top 10 defense. Tibbs going to have these boys playing D if nothing else. If nothing else, you're going to play D under Tibbs. We've seen the picture. And the thing is, Tone, remember that Chicago team? Guys that weren't known for defense, he had them playing defense. Kirk Heinrich. You know what I mean? Ramon Sessions. You know, these guys wasn't known as that. You know what I mean? And he made that team into a defensive team. So now that, you know, basically the same team is here, what happens in the offseason? We decide to keep Mr. Julius Randle. Tibbs go to Julius Randle and tell Julius, hey, I want you to go work on your game. Come back in shape. Really? I never thought Julius Randle was out of shape. So to hear that, you know what I mean? You're going to be my guy. Julius Randle, what he's doing right now, and shout out to Scott Perry for that contract for to Julius, because right now Julius is outperforming that contract leaps and bounds, and we still got control of him for next year if we don't decide to extend him at the end of this year. Great move. The signing of Austin Rivers was another good move initially. I thought it was a good move. I don't know what happened after that game that he had. I don't know if he's still injured. I don't know if it's a mental block. I don't know if stuff not going right at home, but he's clearly not the same guy. You know, but this is the earth-shattering move. All the talk around Levine, Beal, and these other guys. Now, in the draft, we go get my rook from the Brook, Obi Toppin. We get him. And then you get Emmanuel Quickly, SEC player of the game with the 27th pick. Steal of the draft. No question about it. And my son, a Kentucky fan, and he told me, Tony, he said, man, he said, Dad, I'm going to tell you, if there was a tournament, y'all were not going to get Quickly. He would have been a lottery pick. So now that you got Quickly, the move to make this team a playoff team. Hey, Detroit, what is it going to take for me to get Derrick Rose? Well, you know, you can give us a second round pick. And hey, don't y'all have DSJ down there? I'll take him. Oh, you want him? This is your captain speaking. DSJ, your ticket has just been punched. You've just been traded to the Detroit Pistons. Coming back for his second act to the Mecca, New York. New York, the city's so nice, they named it twice. The Thriller in Manila, you know what I mean? Coming back for the second act without Phil Jackson in the triangle exclusively. One, Mr. Derrick Rose, youngest MVP in the league, Chi-Town's finest. Much respect. When that happened, Tony, I said, oh, we good now. I know we going to the playoffs. Wasn't a doubt in my mind whether or not we was getting there. It was a matter of what position we was going to be in. Now Julius Randle don't have to carry the team all by himself. And if young RJ continues to progress, I talked about this morning on Freezy Show. Okay. And I'm going to do a show later on it. The Knicks big three is a question. It's a question to be asked. And people say, nah, we ain't a big three yet. Yeah, I know we ain't one yet. Do we have the potential? RJ can score 20 points a game, but he just needs to get consistent with it. Derrick Rose, since he's been inserted into that lineup, been averaging right around 15 points a game, 5 assists. And Julius Randle going to always bring that 23 to 25 points a game. Those two guys you're going to count on. If RJ does what he needs to do, take the next leap, we got our big three, in my opinion. It ain't on the level, of course, we know this, Tony. It ain't on the level with LeBron and what that is. But for the New York Knicks, having three dependable players that you can count on night in and night out, I'm thinking now. You remember when RJ went through that slump after D Rose got here? Mm-hmm. I think it was more of an adjustment, learning how to play with D Rose being here, than more so than RJ. I think now he's starting to get comfortable, and the best thing that happened in a bad situation was, you know, Alfred Payton getting hurt, forced Tibbs' hand to put Rose in that starting lineup. And I don't think Rose going back on that bench, and I don't think he needs to go back to the bench. Because you don't have to play him. People like, oh, but he's going to get too many minutes. You can stagger his minutes. You don't have to play him a ton of minutes. You can still have Alfred Payton. You can have him come off the bench. But Derrick Rose need to be in that start lineup. The offense moves better. The ball moves better. You know what I mean? And you see it. Matter of fact, I think they're saying the last like 4 or 5 games, the Knicks point total, we're averaging 110 points a game. 110 points a game, I think would probably put us somewhere about middle of the pack in the league in offense with a top 3 defense.
That's about average, yeah.
That's the recipe for Tony? Let me hear you say it. Let me hear you say it with that.
Playoff success. Playoff success. I mean, I said it last night. I think our ceiling, to be honest, man, I think our ceiling our floor is 6th seed. And I think our ceiling's 4th seed, right where we are. So I think we could stay at the 4th, and the most we slide is 6th seed by the end of the year. I don't think we've hit our full stride yet.
No.
I think we're still learning. It's still a process. I say get about another 10 more games, and we're gonna see exactly who we are.
Yeah, hey, I agree. And then to cap this off, we keep talking about trades, right? We keep talking about trades. We got a guy right now that is on the mend that'll be back pretty soon. I kind of feel like he probably going past that timetable because he's young. I think he's gonna be a quick healer. Mitchell Robinson come back, and you put him in the starting lineup. You talking about alley-oop city from Rose? Because that's the one thing he does that Alpha Payton doesn't do. Alpha Payton don't throw lobs. You know what I mean? So, and another reason why I like the idea of Rose in that starting lineup, because you get him away from Emmanuel quickly. I think it got to a point where Emmanuel quickly, where he started thinking too much with Derrick Rose. Like, I don't want to step on Derrick Rose's toes. He's an MVP, former MVP. And you can see it. He wasn't being just reacting. But it seemed like since they've moved, you see quickly starting to revert back to playing like quickly. And I think that's great. I think that's great for this team, man. And being in that 4th seed right now with what we have on this team, all of the moves that have been made, man. Shout out to Leon Rose again, Tibbs and them for bringing in Nerlens Noel is another one. He gets some flowers from me too. That guy is 5th in the association in blocks, and for most of the season been playing as a backup. You know what I mean? Taj contributed. Frank coming back now, and now that's the biggest shocker. That's my biggest shocker because Tony, I thought he was done with this team. I didn't think he was going to play again. So when I look at our team, man, we're in a great position, and I'm of the mindset, man. This way I'm gonna stand on this thing, Tony. March 1st, 2021, 2:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm of the proponent. No major trades. Do not do it. Leave well enough alone. Sometimes the move you don't make end up being your best move. This team is a 4th seed. We got Mitch yet to come back. You let the season play out. If any trades you make is just minor tweaks, we need another center to, help that situation. And we can use another small forward because that small forward situation is like night and day. You don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know who's going to show up between Burks and Bullock, and some night, neither one of them show up. So they need to do a small tweak. I say go get Harrison Barnes for that small forward position. You know what I mean? Put him in there. And so now you solidify that thing. But any major trades, they don't need to touch until the end of the season. You know why? We going back to Julius Randle. Hey, Julius. Man, I like what y'all doing down there, man. Hey, we having a good time out here at this All-Star game, man. Hey, let Leon know. Let Tibbs know. I see what y'all doing, man. I like what you're doing. I'm coming. We all know All-Star Weekend is the biggest recruitment time of the year. That's where things get made behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So Julius Randle, the ramifications of him, implications of all of that. Being an all-star for this thing, going down there, being able to recruit, and he won't even have to recruit because they're going to come to him. Because it's like a Cinderella story, man. You know what I mean? Cinderella story. We that team, if this was March Madness, you do not want to play the New York Knicks. If this was a single elimination game, we'd be that team that would send you home. On that first thing, up out of here. So when I look at it, Tony, man, we in good hands, man. Don't make no major moves. Let this thing continue to cook like good gumbo. And at the end of the season, we got the money. We got the draft picks. You can sprinkle them in and add. But
I got a question though.
Go ahead.
How much does Barnes make, and how many years does he have left? Do you know that offhand?
No, I just was able to look at his point production.
Okay, you basically just talking about his fit.
And somebody had said that his contract, I think he didn't have much left. And let's see, Harrison Barnes. So Harrison Barnes is 6'8", 225, listed as a small forward and power forward. So that can help Julius out get a little bit more of a rest if need be. And he is 28 years old. Through 31 games this year, 16 of 6. He's averaging 16 points. Well, actually 17. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, shooting 49.3% from the field, 40% from 3, 81.8 from the free throw line.
Yeah, I agree. His numbers and everything fit. I was just trying to see if that ends up being a long-term move or not. Or,
you know that him being 28 though, with Julius, I mean, I would, if this is the last year of his deal and we traded for him, I don't think it's the last year. He may have maybe another year. You can extend him for maybe 2 years. You know what I mean? You get him for the rest of the season, see if he fits first. And if it looks viable, this thing continue to move even better, then you can extend him to maybe a 2 or 3 year deal. Because even at 28, let's see, he turned 29 in May. So that means roughly 30, 31, 32. So, and I see what Jay Boogie said, but I'm not looking for Harrison Barnes to be the closer. Right now, in my opinion, Julius Randle, I want the ball in his hand at the end of the game.
Make the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find an open guy like he's been doing.
Or take the shot himself. And I'll be more apt to have him take the shot. Looking at this team, the way we constructed, I think he is the closer. Let him take it. So that's where I'm at, man, with this team, man. I'm excited. The best is yet to come. We just gonna have to, you know what I mean? Like T.O. said, get our popcorn ready, man. You know what I mean? Sit back and enjoy the ride, because this is a beautiful one, man. They said last night that this is the first time I believe the New York Knicks have been over 500 in like 7 years, since like 2013 or something like that. Yeah. And the crazy thing, when they were looking up Emmanuel Quickly, he actually got a record. Through 100 free throws, he's made 94.
Yep.
No rookie has ever done that in the NBA history.
Oh, they confirmed it. I heard them saying they was gonna look it up.
Yeah.
That's what's
through
up.
100 free throws. They say they could only go back, I think, so far, but through 100 free throws, nobody has done what Quickly's doing.
He says Barnes is signed through 2023.
Oh, well, that works good. That works good.
Do we know how much he's making?
That's a good question.
Because I think he's a great fit. I agree, but I think he signed a pretty good extension, so he may be somewhere in the mid to high 20s.
Yeah, and hopefully it's one of those contracts that as the years go, it
decreases.
Yeah, instead of inclining, like Mook's contract out there's no way. I don't know what the Clippers was thinking. His keep accelerating every year.
2018.
So it goes down.
Yeah. I might.
With that production, I'll take him.
I might be inclined to make that move. Yeah,
Jay Boogie says, yeah, this is our first winning month since 2017. That's crazy. 4 years, man. Almost half of a deck since we've been over 500. That's crazy, man. So yeah, man. That's where I'm at on this team, man. I'm bought in. I'm
And
all into
Barnes
what we're
comes off the
doing.
bench right now too, right?
I think he does. I don't want to say,
I'm pretty
is he
sure
a
he
starter?
does.
And giving you that type of production, I'm cool with it, man. Because like I said, he'll just be a piece. We ain't looking for him to be no savior. And then the guy play defense. That's another thing. He's a two-way player.
He
Okay,
said,
so notice it 22, 20, and 18. So it drops.
"Yeah, even that's still, I'll do it. I
And
do
you
it."
know why you do it too, Tony? Because we just looking at offensive production. The man played defense. So he all around player.
I try to swap him out for Burks, because
Yeah.
we got 15 million in cap. That covers, that covers the whole 22 right there.
And then what I'll do then is I'll put Bonds in the starting lineup and move Bullock to the bench. Because Bullock's production is more of a bench production. Him and Alpha Payton is the same players to me so far as they are role players, bench players that actually got thrust into a starting role because of the lineup, because of the team that we got. Because Kevin Knox was supposed to be the guy to take that small forward position, but it ain't happening. I think his time is not happening. So they're definitely going to address that small forward position. And there's a question: who will they go grab? That's all it is. We know moves coming. We just don't know who it's going to be and who's going to be gone. You know what I mean? So man, that's how I feel about us, man. That's pretty much it, man.
Yeah, that I like that move, man. I thought he made, for some reason, I thought he made a lot more than that. But for that money, I definitely do that. Let's see what Jay Boogie's talking about. Signed first 24 million Spurs 2023. You should, yeah. I can definitely rock out with that.
And the reason why you want him is because consistency. The guy's a consistent scorer. He can score. You know what I mean? Something that we lacking in that small forward position.
And I think he's matured over the years.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's accepted a bench role he's on the Kings, right?
Yeah, Sacramento.
To accept a bench role on a relatively young team and not try to give him a hard time over it. I actually think I like that move better than Fields or Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I don't want no parts of Buddy Hield. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because a lot of people talk about Hield, but I think I like Barnes' deal way better than the Hield's deal.
And Nudie 25 brought up a good point too. Said, and he is a champion. Got playoff experience. That'll help him and D Rose in that starting lineup with playoff experience. So
yeah.
It is what it is, man. So yeah, man, they need to go on call. But I'm with you, Buddy Hield. I'm like, I don't.
I don't think he's proven enough. Like, granted, he does have a quality skill, but he hasn't proven enough or improved enough for me to feel like he's the right fit.
And I think too, New York City would eat him up. The bright lights, I think we'll eat him up, man. He won last year.
And Barnes, you gotta think he's pretty much in his prime.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I actually really like the thought of that move. Yeah, salute.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, I've been following Bonds for a long time because I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, so I watched him. You know what I mean? At North Carolina, I thought he would have been better coming out of college than what he was, but he's basically the same player he was in college. So I don't. He hasn't regressed. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
You know what I mean? He is exactly what he was at North Carolina.
What's your thoughts on? You think we need another big man?
Yeah, we need a like a bruiser. I tell you what, give me JaVale McGee, please. Please go get JaVale McGee. Big body center. Gonna be low cost, high reward type situation. You're not going. He's a legit 7-footer, and I think he's about 260. let's see, JaVale McGee. He can set good picks. You know what I mean? 7 foot 270. That's how big he is.
He too is a champion. You know, it's funny. I've thought about it, but I always like laughed it off and never like really focused in on it. But I mean, he kind of does fit the bill of what I was asking for. He's not a big bruiser, but the fact that he's 7'2" kind of negates the fact that he's a little slim and slender. And he's not as slim and slender as the two bigs we have already.
Exactly.
Then he kind of fits the same
rim runner, shot blocker, put back.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? He just went on I ain't gonna say steroids, but they try to test my man. You know, JaVale, I ain't sending the NBA to you to test you. You know what I mean? But nah, he is Mitchell Robinson with a more developed body.
Yeah.
That's what he is. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, blocking them 3-pointers, you know, that's Mitchell Robinson by himself. But everything else that JaVale McGee does is a mirror image of Mitchell Robinson. And now you have 3 bona fide centers on that roster. And it won't cost much to get JaVale McGee. It won't cost much because I think he's on an expiring deal. And if you can't get JaVale McGee, shout out to my man Jay Boogie, the closer. Go get Dwayne Dedman. And then it was somebody else he said. That I thought was a great name that he threw out that's actually out there that we could just go snatch up right now and don't even have to give nothing for. So yeah, man, hey, that we make a move like that, minor tweaks, that'll make this thing even more powerful. And then the thing is you're not sacrificing the identity of your team because JaVale McGee plays defense. He plays defense. Okay, so that quickly deal, just like I thought, it was the last 20 years. But you talking the last 2 decades, ain't nobody done that. There's a lot of players that came through the league in 20 years.
Yes,
rookies,
sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. 60 players a year.
You know, so let that register. You know what I mean? You talking 1,200 players that came through, man. So yeah, man, it is what it is, man. That's what we need to make this thing. And that's the beautiful thing is like when you look at this team, it's not like in years past where he's like, hot dog, man, we got a mess. What direction we going? We need help at every position.
Not
no more.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
Yeah, two positions. You know, we a little shaky. I wouldn't even say shaky, but maybe the small forward is probably the only position we're shaky at. And we still have serviceable guys there. I mean, RJ's still improving. I think ultimately he is a 3 long term.
Yeah, I agree that too.
Bullock hasn't been, and I hate it even to say it because he has been consistent. Maybe he hasn't shot enough threes, but if you look at his numbers, his percentage, it's been 40 or right around there all year. So he's
been games where he don't shoot enough because I try to look at their numbers every game, and that's I think more or less it is that, and then sometimes on defense
it's been there though.
Yeah, the defense been there, but then he'll every now and then do something silly, and you're like, where in the world that come from? You're not supposed to be doing that, man. You're a veteran, you know what I mean? But it happens. It happens to the best of them.
I look at those games. I look at those games that Bullock was out, and our defense suffered tremendously.
Yeah,
tremendously. Maybe more than we might have missed him more than anybody else who's missed games this year, as far as our play as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And that that says a lot. I think defensively we struggled more than any other. Missing any other guy who missed time. I don't think we struggled as much defensively as we did when Bullock missed those couple of games. So we put that in perspective. Bullock is a vital part, even though he hasn't been super productive offensively.
Yeah.
So you got just put that in perspective.
Yeah, so that's really my take on us right now, man. And all I can do left now is just sit back like everybody else and see how this thing play out. But if I'm Leon Rose, no major trades until the offseason. Let this thing just play out. And I'm telling you right now, if anybody call me for RJ in the trade, I'm not doing it. And I'm gonna stand on that. I'm not. I'm going when he have a bad game. I'm gonna just chalk it up to, hey, he's still learning. He's 20 years old. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give him time. The guy is on a rookie deal. I'm not gonna allow myself to be clouded, my judgment to be clouded because we are overachieving still. I don't want to go out and give up a ton of players to go get a guy and bring him in here, and then who knows if you're gonna still have the same kind of chemistry.
Yeah.
Because what a player did on one team may not happen over here. You know what I mean? And that's the thing you wrestle with when you try to make trades, man.
I agree, especially when you're playing well. You know, if we was under the 500 mark and looking more at play in instead of playoffs, you know, then you make a move to upgrade. You know, it becomes more of a necessity. But yeah, it's definitely a risk of messing up chemistry when you make a move right now. And those two moves, man, I actually really like. I'm about to when we get off of here, I'm about to go research and see how much space we would have if we did go ahead and make that Barnes move. Because I know
they got 15 million left right now in cap space. That's what we got available.
Well, so I mean, like into next year. Like, okay. Do we still have a max money for if somebody becomes available afterward?
And actually, they would, because all those 1-year deals comes off the book next year. We got
add them up though.
Noel on 5. Austin Rivers is about 5 million.
Yeah, he's 3. That's 8.
And then Frank had 8 million that's coming off the books.
Okay. So that's
because they didn't extend him. That's 16. Yeah, because Frank 8, and then you got 5 for Nerlens and 3 for Rivers. I mean, so that's 16. That's 16 million right there. And then there's somebody else that's coming off the books too. On this team, I can't think who.
Well, let's say we're not going to include Burks because Burks would be included in the trade.
In the trade, yeah. Do Reggie Bullock? I think Reggie Bullock contract runs out.
Yeah, so Bullock, Rivers, Frank. Who else?
Bullock, Rivers, and Frank.
Noel.
So that's at least like 20 million at least. So we'll have enough to go get a max level guy. And again, Julius Randle is on a team friendly deal, only getting 18 million. So we get pitched that guess, and you know who my ultimate pitch game going to, right?
Who's that?
Because I've been keeping my eyes on him all season. Man, you know, we having another bad season, man. Well, man ain't showing up in the playoffs again, man. P, what's wrong with you, man? P, what's wrong with you? You know I ain't signed that contract for a reason, man. I'm waiting to see what you gonna do, man. Are you gonna show up? If you ain't showing up again, guess what, man? I'm gone. I'm gone, man. Hey, Julius, tell Leon I'm coming, man. I see what y'all doing, man. I'm that piece. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That don't even say the name. Let's just
you know who I'm talking about. And I hear people say, well, he wouldn't come here. We ain't gonna say the name, but we're gonna lay down the facts for why he would come. Okay. One of the most unpredictable guys in the NBA for a star. Left the most stable franchise in the NBA. Left the Spurs. After winning titles with him, and the team was his team, left him. Same situation out there in LA, his team, for people who say he wouldn't leave. After he does that, when he said he wanted to leave, one of the teams that was on record for him wanting to come to get out of there was the New York Knicks. Might I add, at the time, we were trash can status.
Bottom feeders.
You know what I mean? We was trash can status, landfill status. Okay, so that's still in the back of my mind. I'm remembering that. You get to Toronto in a trade. You win a title. And then what you do after you win the title?
Peace.
I'm coming home. Tell the world that home ain't what I thought it was gonna be. Man, that bad man up there, LeBron and AD, I'm gonna have to deal with. And LeBron ain't going nowhere for the next 3 years. I can tell you that right now. He's gonna still be good 3 years from now. And AD gonna be, you got to go through him to try to get to the title. And that's the thing I tell people. But this guy, it ain't about getting to the playoffs. It's about getting to the finals and winning. So if you ain't even getting to the finals, you think this man gonna re-sign that contract? Not only do he have to deal with the Lakers, you got Utah to deal with, you got Denver to deal with, you got Portland to deal with. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna call this team. You better wake up if you've been sleeping and forgot about them. That Golden State team, you're gonna have to deal with. Clay will be back.
And you already know what the path is on this side.
Okay.
You done did it. You already did it on the East.
And let's be real. Right now, we were 4.5 games out with this lineup. 4.5 games out. Players look at stuff like that, man. Or if I was over there, prime example. Look what little buddy across the river, across the bridge did. Mm-hmm. He left from the West to come to the East. So when people said, nah, he won't do that, that guy is the most unpredictable superstar. So to say he won't, you can't say that. Do we got a shot? I guarantee you we do. I guarantee you that. Let them struggle. Let them struggle. You know what I mean? And I hear people talk about the load management situation. That's going to be understood before the man signs. So if he comes in and he signs, guess what? It's already understood how they're going to handle him.
That's right. And if we're already a playoff team without him, then go ahead. Yeah. Get the load management in.
Yeah. We're going to be just fine.
As long as you gelling by the end of the season, I'm good.
And he's going to do that because he's a professional. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, he's a professional. And he's a two-way player. And don't mess around. We get him. And guess what? Frank Ntilikina. Hey, Frank, we're going to bring you back. You were making $8 million last year. We're going to bring you back on a 2-year, $6 million deal. You know what I mean? You get an opportunity to learn from one of the best in the league to continue to enhance your defense. Okay, where do I sign? Imagine what that do for Frank game.
All defensive team.
Hey, there's endless possibilities, man. And this is another thing that players look at. Okay, me coming there. What about the ability to sustain winning? What about the ability to sustain winning? It ain't enough for me to just come there. Long-term ramifications. Well, the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, we have how many? 7 draft picks or something in the next 10 years or something? Some ridiculous numbers. We got all our draft picks, and we're not cash strapped. And we got a functional, top-notch organization now. That's what we are now. Embrace it. That's what we are now. We are no longer dysfunctional. No matter what they try to sell you about this organization, we are no longer dysfunctional. There's no more front office malpractice going on with the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. So all we got to do, that's what I'm saying, man. I'm sitting on that money. Not money, but I'm sitting and waiting for the end of the season. Because you mess around and get that dude. Now you talk about a big 3. And you know what else, Tony?
What's that?
There's some other ramifications if we get that guy. Guess who it is? And this, I've been wanting him. I've been saying this name all year long.
Mr.
Expiring,
Mr. Lowry.
Oh man, Tony, hey,
Mr. Lowry.
We all up in hell, man. We own it, man. That's exactly 19-6. 19-6. So you know what I mean? Hey. And he's on an expiring. And guess who else is on an expiring?
What was that?
Not Chewbacca.
Mr. Blocky.
Put man, hey man. I see it, man. I can see it. I ain't Nostradamus. I ain't none of them. But I can tell you the way this thing lining up, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it, man. Ain't nobody else I want, Zach. Ain't nobody else to talk about. You know what I mean? I'm shooting for the stars. You heard me? I ain't going to nobody trash can and trying to polish up nothing like we've been doing in the past years, man. You know what I mean? Having to settle for garbage and hoping it shines.
And Zach, I'm not opposed to. We did speak about Barnes a little bit, and I'm not opposed to Harrison Barnes or JaVale McGee. Right now as a short-term move. And those guys do have championship experience as well. So, that's you can't undervalue championship experience, no matter whether you was the star or not, because as long as you contribute, you are a part of it, and you've learned things that you can teach others that some of the guys or none of the guys on our team know. So, you got to respect that.
Hey Josh, I'm picking with you, man. You know how I rock with you, man. You know you good money with me, man. Zach, hey, that's Milo's dad. You know what I mean? Shout out to Zach. You know what I mean, Zach? Hey, this is a beautiful thing, man. How you feel to be in the 4th seed? You know what I mean? Tell them people that was laughing at you and you was telling them you a Knicks fan. You know what I mean? Tell them they can go kick rocks. Tell them they can go. You know what I mean? Go pull up the stats and see where the Knicks are at today. You know what I mean? Ain't where you've been is where you're going and where you are. You know what I mean? So hey, it is what it is, man. This thing is beautiful, and we're gonna keep moving. You know what I mean? We're gonna keep moving. This is the only trend that you want to not have any breaks. You know what I mean? We ain't putting no brakes on this thing. We're gonna let it ride full steam ahead. Either you ride with us or you get ran over.
There you go.
Hey Zach, I'm like you, man. I'm like you, man. I am exactly like you right now. I can't fully believe what's going on, man. I fully can't believe it, man.
I know I ain't dreaming, man. This is real, and I'm celebrating. I'm enjoying this.
Man, Tony, you remember us calling in and being in that chat with Sim, man, and you remember them Pen Blues and Agony nights, man. We would have in there, man, hoping for a better day. You know what I mean? And the sad thing is, man, is hell, and a lot of people still don't want to embrace it, man. You know what I mean? It ain't no fluke, man. It is what it is. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Every season has a mind of its own, man. And this one does. Even the team ahead of us in Milwaukee, we done smashed them. Let that sink in. And I believe they're a 3rd seed.
Yep.
We done smashed them.
This is gonna be a true test this next half of the season, because coming out of the first half, now teams are gonna have a target on us. You know what I mean? They're gonna be looking. Oh, y'all the 4th seed, huh? Y'all think y'all ready to make this leap? You got Milwaukee coming up again. They gonna want to avenge that loss. You got Brooklyn coming up. They gonna want to say, hey, we this team of the city, even though they know they not. They know they not. They gotta know they not. Like
they're a transplant.
I think, and I hate to bring this guy's name up. 2 things I want to mention, because again, Stephen A decided he want to talk about the Knicks today. And the last 2 times he spoke about the Knicks, we were unable to get over the hump. Both times he spoke about us, we were 1 game under 500, and then here Stephen A go, I'm watching the Knicks, they're doing good, and then we lose, don't get to 500. So I've been monitoring. He hasn't spoke, but he did today. Now we're a game over, so hopefully he don't jinx us. But even Max was talking about noticing the changes in the Knicks organization. So, we right there, man.
Max, you can't come back now. You can't come back now.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope.
You can't come back now.
I don't even want Stephen A. speaking publicly. He could be a fan. You know what I mean? He never stopped being a fan, but just don't speak publicly, man. Keep that joint private and enjoy the ride, man. Because you had some harsh words for us for the organization and being a fan. So yeah, you gotta keep that private.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man. At the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you like this, Tony. Ain't nobody gonna come tell me but the Knicks to make me change how I feel about them. I don't care how you feel about them, but you're not gonna make me, denigrate my team or say anything in a derogatory remark in a fashion that can be deemed that way in the national media like that. You know what I mean? Because some of the things, sometimes I'll say this. Some of the things I've heard Max Kellerman say, if I was on that panel and I know how I feel about the Knicks, he wouldn't like me. I'm gonna tell you right now, he would not like me. Matter of fact, I'd make him leave set. I'll be on him so hard he would leave the set. Because I don't respect nobody that jump off their team just because the team having a hard time. And now you saying you this team, man, that's you know who does stuff like that? Them little kids. You know how them little kids be like,
yep.
That's my car. No, that's my car. that's what he sounds like to me, man, like a little kid, man. And like I said last night, he one of them dudes, man, when you was coming up, if y'all was walking in the alley, he'd be the one to leave you getting beat up, and they call you later on and ask you, hey, man, you okay? How you think I'm feeling? You left me. I ain't okay. You know what I mean? He would leave you. So I'm glad I know who he is. Yep. I'm glad I know he need to just stick to boxing though, because he don't know nothing but basketball. He needs to stick to boxing. He's good at that. I give him that. But that basketball, he need to keep the Knicks name out of his mouth.
Facts. Yes, he is not welcome back. I said it as soon as he announced, I'm no longer a Knicks fan. Don't come back. Do not come back. You're not welcome. Door shut on you.
You still trying to talk about the owner and the team doing good, man. Come on, man. That's every sign of a hater, man. That's what a hater does. A hater is a person who, when stuff going good, they still want to say it's bad. That's a hater.
Well, Ron, I appreciate you coming on, my brother, man. This was another great episode. Got almost an hour and 30 minutes in. Salute to the chat. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Look out for some more content coming up. When I know you going on tonight or in a little while. What time you coming on?
Right at about 5:20 actually.
So, 5:20. Yeah. Check out my man. It's the Knicks podcast. You know
that's crazy. Tony. It's crazy. I know why you laughing. It's funny, man. That even happened. You know what I mean? and to you, man, my man Tony Crow. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed to my man channel, you know what I mean? Make sure you do it. You see the form he give you. You know what I mean? This is beautiful. This is different. This ain't the average. The man ain't nothing but him average. He's a Knicks fan, you heard me? You know what I mean? To the bone gristle, I say it all day. We go back like babies on Similac, you heard me? That's my guy. I got your back, Tony, man. Whenever you need me to come on, man. Yeah, you got my number, man. Hey, I'm here for you, man. You know what I mean?
When you go live, send me the link to my phone.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in with you tonight,
all right,
or this afternoon.
Okay, all right. Or if you go through YouTube and you click on, it'll send you right there. It'll send you right to it.
All right, bet.
All right, man. Hey, Tony Crow, ladies and gentlemen, KnicksNBruises. He gonna make you remember the pain, but at the end, he gonna make you remember the good days, and that's what we're under right now. You heard me?
That's right.
Hey, shout out to you, Tony, man. Keep doing your thing, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to the chat. Your black is time. KnicksNBruises. We out.